And my only question is, how can Real Madrid switch it on in the second half like the way they did?
Rasmus Højlund, thunderous. It's an absolute net buster.
Eita, hola, uze, didintangda, so and it's time for us to do a recap of the weekend's action. You heard me right, a recap. So if you are a football fan and if you're a fan of the channel, you know that we covered the Nedbank Cup final. We also spoke about the UEFA Champions League final and we gave our in-depth analysis on those two matches. But now it's time for us to, look back to the past and see if our predictions were 100% correct. Obviously, not all of them will be. Some of them will be a miss. But stay tuned to find out which ones were a miss, which ones were a hit. And at the end, I have a little special something for you coming up as we just touch on what big tournaments are coming up over the month of June and July. So don't go anywhere. You're watching not the preview. What do they call it? What's the opposite of a preview? The post-match analysis. Now, it's very important for you not to forget to like, subscribe, and also leave us a comment down below. Let us know if you're happy with this new addition to the channel and what more we can do to improve, to change, to do better here at Betfred, South Africa's YouTube channel. Now, let's start with our first preview or our first post-match analysis. It's going to be the UEFA Champions League final. Yes, we have to start with the big one, where all the other finals ended in an upset. Conference League, upset. Europa League, upset. You would place a bet and think that, things will follow the script, Everyone's gone through an upset. Real Madrid also has to go through an upset. So I'm checking out some of the articles that were written about this match before we actually go into what my thoughts are of the overall thing. We had an article go out on Betfred Inside South Africa. Make sure to check out the link below. And that article said there would be goals under 2.5, which we hit spot on. There was goals under 2.5 in that match. And it says Jude Bellingham would be on the score sheet, which unfortunately did not happen because you know who was on the score sheet. It was definitely not Jude Bellingham. The match ended 2-0 for those of you that did not watch it. Goals from Dani Carvajal in the 74th minute and Vinicius Jr. all the way in the 83rd minute made sure that this match was signed, sealed, and delivered with a UEFA Champions League trophy all the way to Madrid. Now let's talk about the events that transpired in this game. The first half, all the chances were going Dortmund's way. If you didn't see it, you'd think we're making this up. But Dortmund looked favorites to go on and win the game, also dominating possession in that half. They were a team hungry for the win. And look, as much as a lot of us don't want to admit it, especially if you're not a non-Real Madrid fan, you definitely wanted Dortmund to take this one. And just for once, Real Madrid must taste defeat in the UEFA Champions League final. But Real Madrid was not told of this. They definitely weren't informed because what did they do? They went on to win it. So the first half, the stats look as follows. It's quite disappointing when you look at it. 64% of the ball was Real Madrid's ball, with 36% going all the way to Dortmund. If you look at the chances created, Dortmund had two big chances in the first half, both of them one-on-ones with the goalkeeper, and Thibaut Courtois stood tall, he stood wide, he made sure that those didn't materialize into anything. Dortmund had a total of 8 shots at goal in that first half, while Real Madrid only walked away with 2 shots at goal. So if you look at the second half, total shots now are leaning in favor of Real Madrid. They had 11 shots at goal in total, while Dortmund only put together 5 shots. And out of those 5 shots they put together, 4 of them were saved by Thibaut Courtois. So it does paint a picture of a game of two halves. And at the end of the day, we expected a lot more from Dortmund, especially after they've come through such an amazing journey to make it into this final, taking the difficult route, coming up with the results they needed. But the same can be said for Real Madrid. At the end of the day, Real Madrid deserved the trophy. They won it. And my only question is, how can Real Madrid switch it on in the second half like the way they did? Does Carlo Ancelotti have a remote underneath his chair? Does he press it and then something in the shorts just starts spreading up? What is it? Is it the bonus money? If anyone knows, if you're a Real Madrid fan and you can break it down for us as to what is it about your team, we want to know what is it about your team that has made you, immune to losing the Champions League final. 6 finals now in a row you guys have won. 6. That's Atletico Madrid, that's Juventus, that's Liverpool again, that's Manchester City, and now that is Borussia Dortmund. How do you do it? Teach us. We also want to learn. We also want to celebrate the UEFA Champions League trophy. So that is my thoughts on that game. Just want to say that next year we'll be back again. Hopefully someone else can knock Real Madrid out. Guys, let's try to rock them on the group stages from now on. Let's not even allow them to get past the group stages. It's too dangerous. They're going to get there and win. They do it all the time. So that's all we're going to leave it for now. But stay tuned. We're going through to the next chapter. We're going to talk about the Nedbank Cup final. We're going to talk about that one. If you go anywhere, walala wasala njaka. Na kaushia. Right. Hey, UEFA Champions League. Now it's time for the Nedbank Cup final. Hey, Betfred. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave us a comment below with your thoughts. And also, if you're disappointed like I am in this result and the other result, make sure to drop me your thoughts. Let's hear. I don't want to be the only one crying out there. The only one who's touched, only in his feelings. So let's be in our feelings together in the comment section. And don't also forget that we have a promo code running. If you go and open an account with Betfred and type in Diski 50, we've got some goodies available just for you. So make sure. Right, let's get into this one. It's a Nedbank Cup final, and I have to be honest. Which side was I on with this one? Obviously, I was on the, you know what I mean? This weekend. The only issue is that those ones, they weren't ready. No one told them. I mean, if you go into this game beforehand, Mamelodi Sundowns were the favorites. Everybody said they were walking away with the cup, except for one man. One man who's a teacher of Diski. He was the only man on the planet, inside the planet, who said this result can go the opposite way. I thought, I won't lie, I like Orlando Pirates. I love Orlando Pirates. But I was like, no, man, Sundowns is looking too prepared, man. It looks like, Sundowns is that guy when we all study for the exam and then we arrive at the exam hall on Monday morning and we all have our notes out and he arrives and he's like, guys, the question is going to be this. The answer is going to be that. That's Sundowns. You just expect them to have it together. But this time around, hey, as fate would have it, they did not have it together. Let's start first of all by talking about the possession stats overall. Right, let's get into it. In the first half, it was quite a quiet game. Lucas Ribeiro misses a penalty. Yellow card is given to Obas. It's one of those things where you're thinking, no, maybe things are not going to go right for Orlando Pirates. Second half starts with a Nda yellow card. You're thinking to yourself, hey, Orlando Pirates, what's going on? It looks like we are getting into more and more trouble. And then just as you thought that it can't get any worse, there was Zwane. Boom! Lucas Ribeiro assist. Zwane is back of the net. It's 1-0. And that was in the 57th minute of the match. And then as time went on, we got a penalty. Pirates got a penalty. We made it 1-1. And now you're thinking to yourself, it's going to be an interesting game. And I just want to take you now to my Betfred Insights prediction for this game, where I predicted this game would end as a 0-0 draw. In fact, I thought it would end as a 1-1 draw. And then they would go into extra time. And that's how this game would end, in basically extra time or penalties. At this point, I'm thinking to myself, my bet is safe. I'm even telling my girlfriend, baby girl, don't cook tonight. Kuzoba nama payouts. Mina nawe siyaphuma. Siyodla izakhona. And then guess what happens? Last minute, when they say the last minute, this goal was so last minute that for about an hour, all the football group chats I was in, we were debating what last minute was it. Was it 90 plus 4 or 90 plus 7 or 90 plus... It was after the 90-minute mark where the back of the net was rattling, and just like that, Sundowns had lost the Nedbank Cup final. When you ask for drama, not like this, guys. You'll give us heart attacks, man. Imagine you're sitting there, you're thinking, no, Ndana. Imagine you're on your phone, you're that guy, Mnandi, who say phone in, and then next thing you hear the whole, people are screaming. It's the 90th minute. You think, baby, look, I'm going to be late. Yeah, this game is going to go to penalties. We're going to win it, but Pirates is being stubborn. Then chicken, boom, cup gone. That's exactly what happened. So now, goal scored last minute. Orlando Pirates lead the game 2-1. Obviously, like I said, it's last minute. The referee was like, goal, yeah? Even the referee was shocked. Orlando Pirates won the game. And after the game, obviously, this is our post-match analysis. We have to give our flowers to a few players. Number one, the goal scorers for Orlando Pirates, well, you have to give them their flowers. And you know what? The people don't like to give Evidence Makgopa their credit. But their movement, Evidence's movement this weekend was bar none, some of the best I've seen in a long time. Troublesome number 9. He had Abu Grant Kekana panicking. Not because he was creating the chance, but because he was dragging those guys out of positions. Great play from him. The middle field for Mamelodi Sundowns, Zwane, you have to give him his flowers. Great game. Musa Leusa, Mutau. Great game from those guys. Marcelo Allende as well. Lucas Ribeiro, I don't need to say much. The man is a machine, and he's proved it this season in the DStv Premiership, and he's reminded us again here in the Nedbank Cup. And it was one of those games I just feel like, if they want to edge it, it was going to be something like this, something out of the blue, something that was going to be a surprise. If you're disappointed, I feel you. Like I said, as Kalen Sonke in the... You see what I'm saying? As Kalen Sonke in the... comment section. So if you want to cry, in corner. If you don't want to cry, you want to celebrate, corner, comment section is all yours. Let's hear your thoughts. We'll be back again next week with a new revision. But before that, I did start this video by saying there's a big surprise at the end. So don't go anywhere. Salala. Right, the big surprise that I've had in store for you this whole time is that we're going to discuss the UEFA Euros that are coming up this summer, as they call it. For us, it's this winter, dead in winter. It's cold at the moment, but let's talk Euro. Now, at this moment in time, I'm just going to take you through the favorites to win the tournament. I'm going to take you through some of the odds, and I'm going to tell you what my thoughts are in terms of the overall winners for this tournament. But let's start off with let's address the first thing. The favorites at this point in time, I kid you not, is England. So, yep, according to the bookmakers, England is the favorites to go out and win the tournament. I can see all your jaws dropping because it's coming home, it's coming home. It's the song we always hear every time a major tournament comes around. And does the trophy come home? Well, a lot of people say it doesn't. Well, it hasn't, to be honest, since 1966. That's almost as old as Betfred, but we'll get into that later. Now, let's talk about it. Why would they be the favorites? I mean, Jude Bellingham is going to be part of that squad. Trent Alexander-Arnold is going to be part of that squad. Harry Kane is coming back from Bayern Munich. Henderson is coming back from Ajax. At the end of the day, on paper, England have a fantastic squad, and that's why they would be considered to be favorites to go out and win this tournament, bar none. Honestly. I mean, who else? All right, I'll tell you who else. France are the second favorites to go out and win this tournament. Now, let's talk about how important this tournament is going to be in the Ballon d'Or race, right? Because there is a Copa America taking place, but there's also this Euro taking place. Now, Jude Bellingham, which we just mentioned, who plays for England, has just won the UEFA Champions League. I assume if he goes on and does a decent job in this tournament, gets a golden boot, gets the most assists, or even wins the tournament overall, he would be the guy who would walk away with that Ballon d'Or. But now for France, they also have a Ballon d'Or contender in Kylian Mbappe. And the biggest news coming out of the France camp at the moment is not that Konate is not wearing the number 5, he's wearing the 24, and Jules Koundé is wearing the number 5. The biggest news is that N'Golo Kante, you remember that guy? Remember that dynamite in the midfield, the short dude? He's back in the squad. So obviously that gives them a little bit of some rigidity in the midfield, which makes them quite a dangerous team. Not only are they talented going forward with the likes of Ousmane Dembele, Kylian Mbappe up front, they also have that, that pillar of strength in N'Golo Kante right there in the middle of the park. The third favorites obviously have to be Germany, and the question has to be asked. Now that Real Madrid has won the Champions League, you've heard the song before. Now that Real Madrid has won the Champions League, does that not mean that Toni Kroos has to win the Ballon d'Or? Well, if he wins the Euros, it does put a good case forward. And bear in mind, Ballon d'Or winners of recent times, Cristiano Ronaldo, Luka Modric, Karim Benzema, Toni Kroos, they all have one thing in common. They all wore the white of Real Madrid. And look, if he goes on and has a decent campaign, I think if he has a decent campaign in the Euros, it won't be enough to nudge the French journalists to give him the Ballon d'Or. There's only one way he takes it, and that's if he goes in all the way and lifts the trophy. Then it's undeniable. Then you have to give Toni Kroos his Ballon d'Or while he's bowing out of professional football. And look, a lot of people are asking, he's not even on the bench. Why does he want to retire? He says he wants to retire while he's still fit to play and is not on the bench. So those are the three favorites to go on and win the tournament. Now we're going to talk about the biggest outsiders, and a few of them are going to be very interesting. We'll start off with Italy. They are sitting all the way down in 6th as favorites to go out and win this tournament. Belgium and the Netherlands are sitting behind Italy, with Croatia and Denmark behind them. So those teams are definitely not being looked at in a good light. But why is that the case? Well, let's look at the group stages. Group A, favorites to advance from Group A is Germany and Switzerland. Hungary and Scotland are not being given a chance by the bookmakers to go through. Then you also have Group B, where Spain, Italy, Croatia, and Albania are all in it. Now you understand why Italy are not being priced at a point where they could be favorites to win the tournament overall. They're in a tough group. Some would argue, in fact, let me not make that statement before we look at the other groups, but this group already is a scary group. Croatia, Italy, and Spain. Bear in mind, there's only 2 spots to advance. One of those major nations will be crying. Either the champions of 2006 or the champions of 2010 or the runners-up for 2019 in Croatia of the World Cup, by the way. So it's going to be quite an interesting group. Group B is the group you want to keep an eye on. We go on to Group C. England, Denmark, Serbia, and Slovenia. Obviously, the Slovakian countries will not be the ones that people will be looking to advance. The favorites priced at this group to win it is England, followed by Denmark. But I will say Serbia and Slovenia will shock you, will scare you. Keep that an open mind. Now let's move on to the rest of the groups. Well, I'm not getting... Group D. France, Netherlands, Austria, and Poland. I don't want to even touch this group because on one side you have France, who have been superb internationally over the past 6 to 8 years. And then you have the Netherlands, who have been, the biggest disappointment in terms of how they perform in these tournaments. They'll go all the way. They get to the final and they let us down. So they sit in Group D together, and one of them might actually be crying if Poland or Austria have a good tournament. Group E, Belgium, Ukraine, Romania, Slovakia. And then last but not least, Group F has Portugal, Turkey, I don't know. Is this Czechia and Georgia in their group. So Ronaldo will be expected to advance out of this group with no problems at all. Before I wrap it up, obviously, there's one thing and one thing only to look at. I'm looking for it here on the Betfred website. And as soon as I find it, we can then wrap this conversation up. And that is the race for the Golden Boot. I know it's early. The tournament hasn't even begun. But we might as well give it a quick look. Oh, there's so many markets. You should definitely go check it out. I'm going to make sure that there's a link on this video for you to go check it out for yourself and see what markets are available outright for this tournament. But Golden Boot race, can't find the market here, so I'm not going to speak about it. But thank you so much for joining me on this recap of the weekend. Don't forget, UEFA Champions League champions, Real Madrid. Congratulations to the fans, the club, everyone involved. All I'm saying is teach us so we can be like you. And then the Nedbank Cup final, Sundowns, very disappointed to have lost it to one of their biggest rivals, the boys from Soweto. Somebody even said that Orlando Pirates won 50% of the tournaments this season. They won the MTN 8, they won the Nedbank Cup. The DStv Premiership was obviously won by, Mamelodi Sundowns. And Stellenbosch FC are the team that took the other trophy, which is the Carling Black Label Knockout Challenge. So now, with that being said, thank you so much for joining us. I'll see you again next week. And don't forget to keep an eye on the channel because we have a hot Diski preview coming because now we're moving from club to internationals. And it's going to be quite some interesting fixtures with South Africa taking on Nigeria as the first important meeting of the World Cup qualifier. So don't go anywhere. Stay watching Betfred South Africa on your smart device, on your smart TV. In fact, if you're smart in general, watch us. We've got your back. Right, till next time, I'm Mo, and it's my pleasure to have brought this important broadcast to you. Until next time, salagahle.